Glad to have Harlan Reichel with me today from Reichel Klein Group, joining us talking about some of that real estate that we are seeing change hands. Good afternoon. Thanks for being here.
Good afternoon.
Let's talk a little bit about the climate as we see it. For years, Toledo, one of the harder hit areas. It's been talked about again and again as far as the economy is concerned. Do you, from a commercial real estate, from a retail development side of things, do you notice a change?
Well, certainly you're seeing a rebound in the commercial and the retail segment of the business coming back out of the recession, and I think you're seeing a reflection of the dynamism of the retail industry itself reflected in what's going on in retail real estate today.
Do you notice that from the standpoint that there are companies looking for a rebirth here, or we're seeing new companies looking to set up shop in Toledo?
It's some of both. I mean, you're seeing companies that had a presence in the market previously, maybe in advance of the recession, who are taking this opportunity now to expand their footprint. You're seeing others like Giant Eagle as an example, who are taking this opportunity to exit the market, while at the same time Kroger is very busily repositioning themselves in the market to get better positioned for the population and traffic flows and that sort of thing.
I wish I would have the grocery thing is a great topic area just because of what we have seen over the last couple of years. And give me your read when you see Giant Eagle saying we're going to exit the market and Kroger expanding like it is. Obviously, years ago, before things started getting really tight, we saw this growth, the Walmart superstores. We saw so many enter the grocery game. Now there's some give back. Do you think it's going to be more of the superpowers, if you will, in the groceries to really make it versus the little guy being pushed aside?
Not entirely. I mean, clearly, in the lion's share of the market is going to go to the larger players. For the day-to-day shopper, I would say Kroger or Meijer or Walmart are clearly going to have more appeal, and they're going to get more of their dollars. But then you do have smaller niche players, Fresh Market, Walt Churchill's Markets. Right. As two examples, and there are others where you have a smaller, higher-end grocer that's got a niche, and there seems to be space in the market for them. The other retailer, grocer that's sort of quietly been expanding even through the recession, that is at the lower end of the market is Aldi, and another is Save-A-Lot, both of whom have opened stores in this market in the last 3 to 5 years, and at least one of whom is looking for an additional store in the market. So,
and those two that you mentioned there at the end, I mean, really kind of grabbing on as far as the Midwest is concerned, you think, because people are looking for the bargain still?
Well, listen, I think there's still a lot of stress out there, and frankly, when you look at the whole spectrum of retailers that have been active and growing their footprint here, the majority of them have been more price conscious, aimed at the more price conscious consumer as opposed to at the high end. I mean, we're not attracting Nordstroms and Saks Fifth Avenues and that sort of thing. We're attracting value-oriented retailers, both in the grocery segment, soft goods, and the other segments of the market.
You and I, before we started today, we were talking about our beginnings here in Northwest Ohio, Southeastern Michigan, and being two guys, I guess, who, as kids, we really kind of latched on to when the big names came to town, and we got cable, and you were talking about going to the Andersons on Sundays after church and how big of a deal that was. So, what is it about us that still makes us kind of latch on to waiting for those big names to show up? For years, if you continue to use the metaphor with the grocery stores, I mean, people have, why can't we get a Trader Joe's? Why can't we get, a Whole Foods, things of that nature? I mean, why is it that we continue to want to be that little mark on the map?
Well, I guess, we all like something new. We all like some variety. There's maybe this sense that the grass is greener somewhere else, and gee whiz, this must be a great place. I hear about it other places, or, you know, I run into these places when I travel. You know, so you run into these retailers maybe in a situation in your life it's a pleasant experience, and that was part of it. And you know, you think that maybe it'd be nice to be able to shop at those retailers here in your home market. So, you know, I suspect that that's part of it, and some of it is, you know, that you just genuinely feel that maybe they have a better offering in terms of price, variety, that sort of thing, or the retailing format than the same-o that we're accustomed to.
What is keeping the bigger names out of Toledo? I mean, you see this day in and day out, keeping your finger on the pulse of things. What keeps them away? Is it jobs?
Well, you know, again, it's all of these retailers' decisions are made based on, you know, demographics, both, you know, population base, population growth, income growth, disposable income in particular with most retailers, and you know, so they're all measuring to see, you know, what the potential is from the market, and they're going to judge many of them have to judge their locations based on the number of households within a certain range of area around the store from which they can attract. And if the math doesn't add up, the math doesn't add up. And so, you know, this is why this happened to come up the other day. Somebody saying that they felt a site in Toledo was an ideal site for a cheesecake factory. I mean, there's probably no retailer that I've ever heard referenced more than Cheesecake Factory as an example.
Yeah.
And their criteria for what they need to support one of their stores in terms of population and income and disposable income is just so far above what they could find at any location in Toledo that it's just simply not, it can't be supported, that format. It doesn't make Toledo a bad place, it's just, it can't support you know, a retailer who's got that sort of audience.
And they set those standards that if Toledo isn't hitting every single one of those factors, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, listen, the investment that these folks make in a location is just too great, and you know, so they don't want to make an investment that they aren't very certain is going to succeed, and they're not going to suffer the hit to their brand to have a store open and close. So, you know, they're not in business just to be in business. They're obviously in the business for profit. So
let's talk a little bit about investment and downtown Toledo. The shift of ProMedica moving offices downtown. Where do you see that affecting things?
You know, probably first and foremost a perception thing. I mean, you know, yes, they're going to occupy space, and they're going to fill some space that's vacant. They're going to take a building that really isn't in the inventory of usable buildings in the Edison power plant, and convert it into office space. So, you know, it is, in terms of just purely simply the metrics of the market, occupancy and that sort of thing, absorption, a very positive thing. But I think the perception impact for downtown, as Matt Zapera, the new economic development director of the city, has said, you know, it's made it safe for everybody to jump in the deep end of the pool. So I think it's going to change the perception of others about downtown as a viable office location, and I think it's going to get other office users to consider downtown as an option where perhaps before they would not have considered it.
You think it's more than symbolic?
I think, well, it's absolutely more than symbolic, but it's a very symbolic move and very important for that reason.
Let's give Toledoans who are watching this afternoon, Mr. Reichel, let's give them an idea of, as they drive around town and they see the shops at the Franklin Park, going up, that project, redeveloping an area that an empty movie theater sat for years, seeing retail go in there, seeing hotels go up at Secor, where another cinema site seemed to be located there for decades. What are we to take from seeing that turnover right there?
Well, again, as I referenced earlier, you're seeing the dynamism of the retail industry itself. You know,
hotels specifically, though.
Well,
you think big companies, big hotels, more rooms needed, and it's just not here, right?
You know, the hotel industry is in a very healthy phase right now, and you know, it's just like anything else. You know, tastes and demands for different hotel formats evolve. And so, you know, even if there are other hotel rooms today, you know, they may not be the type of hotels that are in demand by travelers today. And so there may be demand for the type of hotel format that's being built there that, and it's not met by another hotel. Yeah. There's that possibility. The other is, I think, simply the fact that the hotel industry is in a very healthy place today in terms of occupancy and room use. So that's, I'm certain, also a factor. And then, you know, then there's, you've got sort of a micro element there. And, you know, when you look at all the hotels in Toledo, you know, most of them are in the periphery or downtown. You know, there's frankly not a lot of hotel rooms in that immediate area of West Toledo. You've got one of the only interchanges on, or maybe the only interchange on 475, I guess, now that they've done the ProMedica interchange. Now it's the second one, but one of only two along that stretch where you have a four-way interchange.
Maybe at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's four-way, so the access to the site is very good. The accessibility of the site from the interstate is very high, and you still have a very, very solid, dense neighborhoods around that and shopping around it that drive use of those hotel rooms.
I'll let you go for the afternoon, and we appreciate Harlan Reichel joining us here on the Roundtable this afternoon. Costco, set up years ago in West Toledo. It's been a driving success at the corner of Central and Secor. Now plans are moving forward on a store in Perrysburg. When I look at this story and when I look at this project, I don't get bogged down with thinking about all of the red tape that you have to go through in order to get these done, the gas line that's on the property that they're going to have to move in order to put a parking lot. I look at the fact that Cleveland has multiple stores, Cincinnati area has multiple stores, now Toledo will have multiple Costco stores. Yes. What does that say to you? What's that read from your perspective?
Well, it's a natural when these retailers get a presence in the market. You know, they're putting advertising into the market. They've got some brand recognition. They want to capitalize on that.
Columbus only has one store.
Well, and I suspect that that's probably not for long. Yeah. Or look at you know, you have to assess this competitive environment on the ground. I mean, there may be other competitors that are already well established in that market and have the right locations under control, and Costco does not see the right locational opportunity for them. Yeah. To find a successful, or what they perceive to be a potentially successful location. That element cannot be underestimated. That's why you see Costco working so hard to make the site that they've got identified work. You can't emphasize enough the old location. Yeah. For a retailer, it is everything. And while some people might think that, you know, there should be perhaps a little difference for Costco to be on one side of the interstate or the other, or here versus a mile down the road, I can assure you from their perspective, as they evaluate sites and look at access and traffic flows and populations that they're going to be drawing from, they are highly, highly sensitive to precise locations. And so, and they're looking at, you know, they also want to make sure, for example, that they don't cannibalize sales from the other store. I think in this case, Costco's established that they can put a location in Perrysburg. They're not, you know, it's far enough away, and traffic patterns are such that they're not going to cannibalize stores from Westgate. But they also feel very strongly about the location that they've selected as, you know, having all the factors they need to contribute to its success. And, you know, all I can, to further illustrate the point, you can see how important this location issue is when you look at what Kroger's doing, repositioning their stores in the market. They're tearing down or closing old stores and moving a quarter of a mile away
Spring Meadows,
to Spring Meadows is a perfect example because they feel that they're going to be that much more successful by positioning themselves in the new location in the same marketplace. Now, true in this case, they're going to be able to build their larger footprint store material to them to be able to do their business in the format that they want to do it, but also the improved situation that they think they're going to find themselves in being out on Airport Highway as opposed to back in the center just really illustrates how important even the finite changes in their location is to their success, in that they're willing to make that kind of investment in a market, in a sub-market that they're already located in.
You want to find out more about Reichel Klein Group, go to rkgcommercial.com. Harlan Reichel, thank you so much for spending some time with us.
Thank you.
We're talking Bar 45 when we come back. Stay with us here on the Roundtable. Oh.